Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Unboxed, your front row seat to the stories, struggles, and secrets behind today's most innovative startups, entrepreneurs, and investors. I'm your host, AJ, and today we're diving into the world of authorship with a true visionary. Our guest, Ben Cena, is the co-founder of High Value Author, a company dedicated to helping professionals share their message and build a legacy through best-selling books. If you've ever dreamed of seeing your name on a book cover or wondered how to transform your ideas into a powerful legacy, this episode is for you. Get ready for a deep dive into the art and impact of storytelling. Let's get unboxed. Ben, give us the 60-second backstory on High Value Author. How'd you get the idea, and what was your career before taking the entrepreneurial leap?
Absolutely. So if we talk about High Value Author, the whole thing started over a year ago. But when it comes to best-selling books and helping people to become authors and best-selling authors, everything started about 6 years ago. Then I got involved in the publishing business, in self-publishing with Amazon, learned the systems, managed to build a business of 6 figures, sell it, and then decided to use those skills and those systems to help others to do the same. More than that, to help people leverage those books into other sources, such as speaking gigs, podcasts, events, etc., etc. So not just the book sales, but everything that comes with becoming an author, which is authority, credibility, and all other benefits. I was a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer for about four years. Yeah, I was a personal trainer for about 4 years, and I started doing this publishing thing while I was still personal training people. So I guess this is how it started, and I probably wouldn't be doing that if I didn't meet a person who is now my business partner at High Value Author, who was also a personal trainer in that same gym, and who introduced me to the publishing and becoming an author and all these great things.
Ben, what sparked your initial interest in helping professionals become published authors? Was there a pivotal moment or influence in your life that led you to co-found High Value Author?
Well, the first thing I realized is that it's not just about book sales, right? Because so many people, when they become an author, they think, okay, how many books can I sell? And in reality, there is so much more to it, right? And then I realized that year and changed ago, right? A year and a half ago, is that you can use your book, now assuming the book is really high quality, it has a proper positioning, the sales are there, the proof are there, reviews are there, the book is very credible. You can use that book in other outlets, right? You can use that book to communicate with other people who take you more seriously, right? So that book becomes a business card rather than just what people think is, okay, I will sell a lot of copies and what happens, right? It's not the case, right? You have to sell a boatload of books in order to make $10,000. But if you know how to use your book, you can have one client and make that $10,000 just because you have this powerful book, and then the person believes that you are the expert in this particular field. So that was that pivotal moment.
Can you share a transformative story from one of your clients where publishing a book significantly changed their business or personal life?
Well, I can share. I'm not sure that I can mention the name. Let's call that person James. So James, actually, he was one of the first clients we had, and he came in a relatively established person, meaning that he had some time to invest and money and time to invest into becoming an author and really think about it. and his goal was to raise. He had a very clear goal. His goal was to raise his speaking gig fees by $10,000. I think he was charging like 7, and he wanted to charge in a range from 15 to 20 for his speeches, right? So what we did is not just after we published the book, we created the book, not just that we got the ads running, he became a best-selling author on Amazon, but rather we decided that, okay, we're gonna send 200 copies for free to people in charge of the events and say, hey, listen, my name is such and such. You might be interested. I'm considered an expert in this field. I'm a best-selling author, etc., etc. And he got some immediate responses, and that helped him right away. Even before we sold $1,000 worth of books, right? So he got engagements for the speakings even before he got any royalties to his name from Amazon or other outlets. So that was pretty interesting.
The publishing industry has its unique set of challenges. What are some major obstacles you faced, and how did you overcome them to ensure your client's success?
Well, the system is always changing. The guidelines are always changing. Amazon is the biggest seller of books in the world, both in ebook and paperback, print. And they always have their guidelines changing, right? So you have to adhere to those guidelines, right? Sometimes we face an issue where we cannot get the ads running if the book, let's say, is about health, right? Specifically about health. And there are some claims in the book that have to be justified or corrected, and then it takes more time to get the book up and running. So it takes more time for a person to become a bestseller. We have to change the manuscript a little bit so there aren't such claims, or that those claims are strongly backed with resources and stuff. Not really any major things. I think what might be interesting to people is, because when people want to become an author, many people want to write a book, right? Probably you would love to write a book at some point if you haven't yet, because you have a message to share, right? And most people think in two different ways. Either that I'm gonna find a publisher who's gonna take me on and they're gonna help me through this process, which is usually a traditional publishing way, which is called traditional publishing. Or a person thinks that, oh, there's self-publishing. So I'm going to gather my information, my manuscript, my book title, my book cover. I'm going to go to Amazon and I'm going to publish the book by myself. And there are some pros and cons to that. But I think it's really amazing that more and more people realize that using the self-publishing approach is, if you know what you are doing, that's a big distinction. If you know what you are doing, you don't have to have any social following. You don't have to have any strong background. If you just have enough value and a strong message to share, and you have some unique angle to a problem that people are suffering from, you can sell a lot of books, and you can use that tool really, really well. And it can be so much more powerful than traditional publishing, where you don't have any.
For my curiosity and the audience's, what's the difference between traditional publishing and self publishing?
Well, traditional publishing has its own benefits, where you don't really have to do anything. Traditional publishing, if we are talking about higher level traditional publishing, I'm not talking about the companies that are just doing the things like manual work. Okay, we're gonna upload your book on Amazon, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm talking about publishing houses with systems and audiences, that have audiences of people that they can immediately market to those people after the book is live. So the audience already have a chance to buy the book, and they have the team of designers and everything, right? So they take care of those things. So that's a benefit for traditional publishing. You don't really have to worry about that. But there are more and more cons to traditional publishing, because unless you have massive social following, they will not pay you, right? You will still have to pay them to do the service for you. And on top of that, you're going to have a royalty share structure. They will take more royalties than you will. And the lack of control is the other one. Let's say you want to change the book cover. Let's say you want to adjust a book description on the page so it converts better, so people buy more, the advertisements work better. It takes months to get in touch with them, to go through the middle people and say, okay, can we really change the cover? Let me get an answer from my manager. And then the manager comes back and they say, well, why do you want to change the cover? And then you have another conversation, why do you want to change? And then, okay, there are other outlets, we have to change the cover everywhere. Do you really want to change the cover? And then it's a very complicated process, and it's a long-term agreement, usually nothing less than 7 years. Sometimes it's a lifetime agreement for the book, unless the contract is breached. Sometimes it's even more. Sometimes it's for every book you're going to publish, unless we go out of business. So it's really complicated in this kind of sense, where on the flip side, with self-publishing, you have all the control, you have all the ownership, you own your book, you own your manuscript, you own your everything. But if you don't know what you're doing, that book is gonna fade, and that book is gonna disappear in the other 25 million books on Amazon and elsewhere, and nothing is gonna happen.
You emphasize building a legacy through a best selling book. How do you envision the legacy you're creating with high value author? And what impact do you hope it has on future generations?
Well, I don't think we established any legacy so far, just a year and a half. But I think the concept in itself, because most people, and there are distinctions, right? There are different, I would say, different levels of people, where people of certain incomes, they think about, okay, I want my book, I want it to go out the cheapest way, and I want just to publish it. And they don't have enough time to think about what are they really doing, because the book, it can be just whatever, right? Oh, I published a book on Amazon. Oh, I just did this. And it's like a crappy little book or a crappy big book that nobody cares about. There is no soul, there is no voice, there is no nothing, right? And so usually this is what people usually do. But those who realize and understand the power of legacy, that you're gonna take this book and you're gonna share it, not just with your co-workers and your readers and your audience and your clients, but rather with your children, grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. And you don't want them to read your first book, which is not even in your voice, so they cannot hear and understand what you were thinking when you are gone, right? So some people understand that. For some people, it takes time to understand that.
In such a competitive industry, how do you and your team innovate to ensure that your clients' books stand out in the market?
Yeah, so we have a processes where a few elements are important, right? Of course, now if we are speaking legacy, right? We are speaking legacy, or we are speaking other benefits. All right. So when it comes to legacy, the most important pieces is number one, the voice. Number two, the message that you want to share. And number three, the quality of the book. These are the three when it comes to legacy, because your great grandchildren will not care about how many reviews that book had, but they will care how did my grandfather or grandmother sounded like, what they were thinking about, and not just your family, but also further generations, right? So in order to capture that voice, even for a person who, if you decide to write a book yourself, like we have people that we call mentor writers, right? So people almost like a ghost writer who helps to mentor and guide the person through the process and write a book for them, capture that voice. People don't know how to take their voice and put that in a written format. It's not it's not an easy thing to do, right? Because when you read something, it doesn't sound like me, right? Because so many people they write completely different way compared to how they speak, right? So that's a science in itself, right? And then the message. Message is extremely important. What problem are you trying to solve, and what you want to be remembered for? It depends on the market. We work with different markets. We work with business. We work in different categories. Primarily, we focus on nonfiction, right? We don't really do fiction books, right? We focus. This is why I say message is important, because we are solving problems. We believe that books are problem-solving tools, right? So it really depends on the market. Some markets are different than the others. For example, business, fitness, healthcare, mental health, self-help. There are parenting, right, which is really on trend right now. So it really depends on the market.
For entrepreneurs who have a powerful story or strategy to share but feel overwhelmed by the process, what advice would you give to help them get started with writing and publishing their book?
Research. I think it's as simple as that, right? They either get overwhelmed by the amount of information that is out there, which is usually not structured. So something is missing. For example, we decided to create this like little ebook of 3,000 words where we nail every single step required. Okay, you have to have your title, which is, and what is the title, right? What the title really is. How will you get your reviews? How after your book is live? How do you design a cover? How do you get a cover designed, let's say, by somebody else? Now, if you know the step by step, you will not get overwhelmed. You will only get overwhelmed if you try to either research as much information as possible without really structuring it in step-by-step way, or you are the kind of person, and it's actually on trend right now, right? Overthinking is a big thing in the book world, and there's quite a few books on overthinking. But I guess finding a professional, for most people who can afford it, is the best bet. To find somebody who will show them the steps, because usually they miss out. Because most entrepreneurs, they're thinking, well, I will write a book, which is the worst thing that you start with. I will write a book. You don't start with writing. Then I will create a title, and then I will design a cover, and then I will create my self-publishing account, and I will figure it out. So, and usually what happens is 95% of the cases, they publish their book, the book goes live, pretty simple, right? The book goes live, and then they are trying to understand why there is one sale, and that sale came in from a grandmother, right? And before they know it, before they start thinking about the reviews, about the advertising, about crafting the correct message, the title and subtitle, it's too late, because the algorithms die down. any platform, including Amazon, the life gets in the way, and that book is left behind, and nobody buys it, and nobody cares about it. So you really, you either have to have time to research the steps, or seek a professional help with somebody who has a track record. Very important, has a track record of success, not just any bozo who says, "Well, I can help you out."
How has your journey with high value authors shaped your personal and professional growth? Can you share any significant ways your approach to business has evolved?
Well, our mission is to become the number one brand that authors seek in the next 10 years. We want to become the number one brand when an author is thinking, future author is thinking, well, I want to write the best book for my legacy, for my authority, and for my credibility. I will go to these people. This is what we want to do. We want to be the number one brand. I think it's just missing out. Most authors they don't understand what they are leaving on the table. They take it for granted. And I think that's what's driving us, right? This is what drives me day to day. Well, that there's so much more to the books, and there are so many ways you can use it, right? Because book is not the help. The book is not real help to people, right? Book is just why. The only thing the book does, it answers the question why. Why should I listen to you? Why these tools are working? And why should I act right now? Now, once people understand the why, you have to move them somewhere in different environment where you're gonna lead them, right? Whether that's some sort of a consulting, coaching program that actually said, okay, this is what you will do, and I'm gonna hold your hand, and lead you through all the steps, right? So the authors don't understand that. They think that, okay, the book, great, I have my book published. Hopefully, now, assuming there are a lot of people buying the book, assuming that's happening, hopefully they will Google my name and they will find me, which is a bad strategy, because there are so many better ways to get in touch than just hoping when the person will find you. But authors don't understand, most of them, almost all of them, don't understand that people have very short attention span. You have to grab them there and then. You're reading the book, okay, you just read about how to create the correct mindset to develop this business, right? Okay, what's now? Okay, so now you go to this website, you sign up for this free resource, and you're gonna take these 5 steps to take action. Then you will remember why you read this book in the first place. Otherwise, you're just reading the book and you think it's an accomplishment in itself, which is not. Usually, reading a book is a waste of time, right? Unless you do something with that information, or you read fiction books and you love those stories and you enjoy yourself. But if you understand that, that's good. But if you want to have legacy and you want to impact a lot of people, you have to create a bigger impact. You have to make them take action on the book, not just read it.
Absolutely right, Ben. Actionable books tend to have a lasting impact, especially on those who take action. Not long ago, I had a great guest on the show, Dr. Jeff. When I asked him about a book that profoundly changed journey and mindset, he mentioned Over the Top by Zig Ziglar. He bought that book in the early 90s and has been reading it consistently up to now, in 2024. This illustrates that when a book is packed with valuable insights, it sticks with people for a lifetime.
Exactly. Now, most people, there are a group of people who are really high performance. They will. The only reason they read books is to take action. Most people don't do that. Most people, they need to get kicked in the ass and do something, right? So they need a strong grab, and it's difficult to grab people through a book, but it's possible. If you include something in a book that's very relevant, that makes them think, well, it makes sense to do this now. Then they go to the next step, which is where the real help is, right?
What core values drive the mission at High Value Author? And how do these values influence your day-to-day operations and client relationships?
I think the number one thing is the power of focus. The power of focusing on one thing instead of 5, right? And then you learn that you can focus on one and do that and master it and do it so much better instead of doing 5 at 15% capacity, because you cannot equally do them because you get distracted each and every time, right? So you rather take the risk and put all the eggs in one basket, and then you watch the basket instead of having many baskets and you cannot even see who is stealing the eggs, right? And you have eggs are gone, your eggs are gone, and at the end of the day, when you see one basket is left and there is only one egg in that basket. So
How do you define success for yourself and for High Value Author? Are there specific metrics or milestones that you use to measure your achievements?
well, I think there are different sort of achievements. Of course, financial achievement is great. We measure our success by how many authors we help. So far, at some level, we helped over 400 authors at this point. We helped over 100 authors to become bestsellers since we started really focusing on this point to help authors become bestsellers. Now, our goal is to help 100,000 authors in the next 10 years. Maybe we're going to raise the bar to 1 million. We'll see how that goes.
What emerging trends in the publishing industry do you see as opportunities for aspiring authors, and how can they leverage these trends to their advantage?
Well, I think that every single entrepreneur must become an author, even though every single one of them. If every single entrepreneur who is a real entrepreneur at heart must craft a book and publish that book and do that well. And create that book in a way so it helps them with their business. Because I believe that true entrepreneurs, they are in business of a long term, and that business will be in that book. Otherwise, they are just jumping from business to business. They don't know really what they are doing. But true entrepreneurs who are passionate about what they are doing, they must have that book, which is going to be a great tool to acquire new clients, to gain credibility, and build authority in their field locally, especially internationally.
How do you balance your passion for storytelling and helping others with the business demands of running High Value Author?
I think there is no balance. I believe that there are only priorities and things that matter more than the others. I think then you try to balance things, right? Because balance in itself is 50-50, right? Otherwise, there is no balance, right? Or it's 25-25-25-25, then there is balance. But really, you have to understand what is important for you. If you understand what's important for you, then you don't have to think about balance. Then you set your priorities straight, and it's very easy.
Publishing a book can significantly enhance credibility. What are some key strategies you recommend for authors to maximize their book's impact on their personal and professional brand?
maximize the impact. Now, if you ask me about the impact, I think two elements are very important, which is the message that you're sharing. Right? Of course, we can talk about the tools to share that message, which is the title, the cover, etc., etc. The message that you're sharing and the advertising play. Right? You have to advertise and market your book in order to make an impact. Otherwise, in a tough marketplace right now, when there are so many books out there, it's almost impossible to stand out without doing any advertising. So you must do advertising. And if you want to get really good value for the money you spend, you have to take your time on or find professionals to target the right people who would be your ideal clients. That's the best way.
If you could gift a single book to every entrepreneur in the world, which one would it be and why? What are one or two books that profoundly shaped your entrepreneurial journey and mindset?
Well, it's an interesting question because I think all entrepreneurs must all entrepreneurs must understand the power of advertising and marketing. And there's this little book called A Reason Why Advertising, because so many entrepreneurs, a lot of them struggle with understanding of the power of the right advertising. So this is the book that I would recommend to each and every one of them. Reason why advertising. Reason why advertising. And the other one, which is a blueprint. I read it many, many times. I think it's the author of it is Sabri Subi, and it's called Sell Like Crazy. It's it's I don't know if you heard about this book. It's a red book. I have it somewhere here. It's almost like, and Russell Branson is brilliant. The .com Secrets is an amazing book. But I think that book, Sell Like Crazy, is almost that .com Secrets by Russell Branson on steroids. More clear, more to the point, very conversational. Now, I would recommend the third book, and I would recommend that to both to men and women, and that is, what's the title? The Way of a Superior Man, which is, I would say, the complete psychology book on men's psychology, which men and women must understand, and that has huge applications to business. Why people buy, why people do what they do. So that's an amazing book, and a person can read that book in 3 hours. It's an amazingly easy to read book, but very powerful. So I would say these will be my 3 books for today's person. For not sophisticated reader, if you would ask about like more sophisticated old school books, I would maybe name a few others, but for today's entrepreneur, I think these are very relevant.
Can you recall a moment when a failure, either yours or your parents, unexpectedly set the stage for future success? What is the story behind your favorite failure, and how did it become pivotal in your career?
Well, I think, well, I have many points that I remember. I think it's a repetitive moment. It's not something that happened once. It just happened over and over again. I just remember maybe when I was a child, 8, 9, 10 years old. And when you are a child, you tend to care what our children think of you, right? I don't care right now, but I used to a lot. The case. But then I just remember that we would go on these trips to other cities, and the whole class would go to those trips. And I remember that every single person in that bus, every single child in that bus had like, now if we are talking euros, that would be an equivalent. Let's say every single child had 20 euros to spend. 20 euros, that's like $25 to spend. And I had like five. Every single time I had like 5 euros to spend. And so I can just buy this and that. And I used to pretend to have 20 or 25, but I never had. Sometimes I collected more to have like 10, right? Not eat for a couple of days so I can have more for a trip. But I think that's the thing that I remember the most, and that's you can always remember this thing, not just about the money, but rather understanding that nobody really cares, especially nobody cares once they don't see you or they don't talk to you.
Reflecting on the past 5 years, what new belief or habit have you adopted that has significantly transformed your life and work? How has this change impacted your day to day actions and long term goals?
Well, I became an entrepreneur. That's what happened during the last 5 years. I used to be a self-employed kind of entrepreneur, right? When I was a personal trainer, they used to say that, okay, you are businessman, right? Self-employed, you're a businessman, and you run your own business. It's not really a business. A business that's not scalable, it's not a business. Because if you are doing the business, you're coaching people, and nobody else can do it, and you cannot 10x your price, it's not a business. So I think this is what changed. I became an entrepreneur, and I understood my entrepreneurial spirit, and I would never go back.
Imagine you have the chance to put up a billboard in Times Square with a message for millions. What would your message be, and what do you hope people take away from it?
Well, it's good that you said that, because we help every single author we work with to be featured in Times Square advertising. So, so we help to do that. But to answer your question directly, if you have a message to share, if you believe that you have a message to share, you have to turn that message into a book.
What purchase of $100 or less in the last 6 months has had a surprisingly positive effect on your life, and why?
Now, there are quite a few, right? I bought a course for about nutrition, a little course, and it's more about fasting. So I think that did a big change, improvement in my life.
What unusual habit or specific thing do you love? And how does it fit into your daily routine?
I love to have a couple of naps throughout the day. But so whenever I get tired, I have like a 20-minute nap and I keep going.
What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've made, be it in time, money, or energy?
High value author. With this brand, we invested over $20,000 in the beginning, and we invested over thousands of hours in the beginning.
For a passionate young entrepreneur fresh out of college, ready to dive into the real world, what unconventional advice would you offer to help them stand out? What common myths about entrepreneurship should they ignore?
Unconventional advice that I would give is focus. Eliminate distractions. Focus on one thing, and do it until you fail or until you win. If you fail, that's great. The faster if you fail, the better. If you win, that's not so great. Hopefully, you're gonna fail soon, and then you will again, right? Failing is better than winning in the beginning, especially. And you're asking about the young ones, and I hope they fail as many times as possible, because the more times they fail, the more successful you're gonna be. There are so much advice out there, and I just mentioned about the focus, and most people already realize the focus. I believe if you want to become an entrepreneur and you're a young age person, you must eliminate social media from your phone and from your computer, unless you use that for business and you make money doing that, fine. But if it doesn't make you money or has no potential, direct potential, if you're gonna send this amount of messages on Facebook, chances are you're gonna book so many clients. If there is no such connection, if you're just hoping and doing fugazi when it comes to your networking, messaging in groups, and you don't really expect a systematic response, unplug.
What bad recommendations do you hear in your area of expertise that entrepreneurs should be wary of?
I think right now, especially, it's very common that it's about health and fitness, right? And there's many trends going that you can eat whatever you want as long as your nutrients are good and you're gonna be just fine. This is, I think, the biggest misadvice that people are receiving, and they don't take into consideration that every single food that they eat has a direct impact on their energy levels, on their ability to focus, on their ability to stay sharp throughout the day and think. Especially, I'm talking about not with manual tasks, but those creative and systematic tasks that we must do immediately, and the brain just doesn't work, and then we wonder why it doesn't work. Well, probably because you ate a pizza an hour ago. That's why it doesn't work. Or you had like your M&Ms and a pack or 2 packs of M&Ms early in the morning. That's why you don't have any energy.
When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, what strategies or practices do you use to regain clarity and drive?
Very good question. Very good question. It depends. If I need like a quick focus, I would take a shower, cold, semi-cold shower, and I come back, because then I feel clean, I feel fresh, and my mind is clear. If it's more of a long, like I need a bigger refresh, I go for like a cardiovascular, like a run, or like a long, intensive walk for an hour. I recover, then I take a shower, and then I come back. Oh, physical things, very powerful.
Ben, as an entrepreneur, maintaining personal health and fitness can be as crucial as managing a business. How do you integrate fitness and well being into your busy schedule? And what impact does it have on your effectiveness as a leader?
Well, I have a very structured routine, right? I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I know I have my schedule on a particular time of the day when my workout is gonna be in. This is how long I'm gonna work out. This is how long I'm gonna have my sauna. I have a sauna after a workout, and then I come back. I start working at the exact time when I'm supposed to start working. Right? It's very important to have that proper schedule. And I see two things that are happening usually. And it's not only one way. There are people who have an excuse of not working out. There. So that's a bad thing in itself. Where people say, "Well, I'm busy." Well, you're not really busy. If most entrepreneurs, quote unquote, they if you look at their schedule, right? And I was in a workspace, it's locally here, where people are paying the rent to go there and work. I go around the tables. I was checking what people are doing. They're on their Instagram. What are you talking? What exercises? You don't have time for exercising. You spend 2-3 hours a day on your Instagram, liking pictures, and then you say that you don't have time to work out. So that's the main thing. And there is other part of people who go to work out, but they spend way too much time doing that. They go there, for 2 hours, 3 hours, they walk around, and then they come back. Well, and they have another routine to get in, then they have their lunch, and the 4 hours go by, and then they start working. Oh, it's already too late. It's 5 o'clock. Let me have my free time right now. So, but these are the less of the people who work out too much. But there is such people who start to work out. We don't know what we are really doing, but so we just hang out. We talk to friends, right? Actually, this is one of those things as well. I would never, for most people, unless you are business partners, I would not recommend to go work out with somebody else. Don't do that. It's a waste of time. Bad workout, not gonna happen. So go by yourself. Know exactly what you're gonna do prior to the workout. Know how long it's gonna be and why, and then leave.
Absolutely, Ben. That's exactly what I tell people who say they don't have time to go to the gym or do home workouts. It's all about prioritizing what's important to you. Many people waste too much time on activities that don't bring any real value to their lives, yet they claim they don't have time to take care of their health and well-being.
People do that unconsciously. People do that. They don't say that, oh, I'm gonna spend 30 minutes on Instagram. That would be great. If people would say that's better than just, oh, I'm gonna pick up my phone. I'm gonna now. People don't think. People do these things unconsciously, and then they don't even notice how the day went by, and they convince themselves that they actually worked. They actually worked for 6 hours, when in reality they worked for 2 hours. They were in the bathroom for an hour, and we were scrolling for 2 hours, and they were eating for an hour. So they worked 2 hours, and we were doing nonsense for 4 hours. So that's how it goes.
Thank you, Ben.
It was my pleasure. Take care, my friend.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Entrepreneurship Unboxed. We hope Ben Cena's insights on authorship and legacy building have inspired you to take action on your own storytelling journey. Remember, the power of a well-crafted book can transcend the digital noise and create a lasting impact. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share this episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to unbox their potential. Until next time, stay driven, stay inspired, and keep unboxing your true entrepreneurial spirit. I'm AJ, signing off. Keep building your legacy.